let's start with your personal story, because it's a very, very interesting one. And then move on to the fact that you're one of the most influential women in the City of London. Tell me all about it.
First of all, I don't feel that way at all, but I'm born in Iran. I grew up in France. I studied finance in France, and my dream was always to work in the City of London. I don't know why, but I knew that I want to be a banker and I want to come to London. So I graduated from Sorbonne, and I got my first offer from a leading European bank here in London. So you got to imagine, this was my dream, and I was like about to touch my dream. I don't think I ever packed so quickly my luggage and eagerly and happily came to London to grab that job. And I was just getting used to that, London life, which is very different to Paris. Paris, people still kiss you hi in the morning. In the City of London, people do not kiss you in the morning. So it was a very different atmosphere. So I came here, and I was just getting used to my life. Within 6 to 8 months, my boss came to me at the time, and I said, hey, you got to pack your bag, and you got to go to Italy. And I said, but what do you mean? He goes, well, I asked everybody else, and nobody else wants to go, so you got to go.
You didn't have a choice about it.
I had no choice, and I guess that's what happens. Human being, beggars can be choosers. You got to do it. So, and I told him I don't speak a word of Italian, and he goes, French and Italian is the same thing. I mean, he knew nothing. But anyway,
it's the same.
It's exactly the same. So I went to Italy, and at the time, the business of this European bank was really around the SMEs. And I made a couple of calls there, and very quickly understood that I'm not going to find anybody who speaks English, and the bank is not going to give me exactly a year to go and learn the language. So I got to do something, and I'm here. I got to make the most of it. I literally took the yellow pages. I mean, true story. I knew the car Fiat. I took the yellow pages and I called the treasury, because I figured in the blue chip company I'll find somebody who speaks the language. And I ended up doing the entire mark lira. It was a build up to the euro conversion. I ended up doing the entire foreign exchange program, and I became overnight famous, which was a great feeling, from being nobody. And
you're famous because, I mean, the blue chip banks you've worked with kind of give you an idea of the differences in culture. Talk to us about the difference in the perception of women in the city. Is this really a boys' club? Because we can all honestly say, yes, it is. How do you change it?
I was about to go there, so I just want to end this story, because I think although my personal story is completely irrelevant to the audience, and I think every single of you had to go through exact same story of overcoming adversity to where you are, I think the point I was trying to make is that you're not going to have all the other women having the same profile that we have, which is, we were all very driven, we were all hungry. We need to make banking attractive to all sorts of women. And that was the point. The point I was trying to make is that it's not exactly that, when they asked me to go to Italy and I turned it around, it was an opportunity being given to me. I had to take it because I had no choice, and I turned it around. And I think we as an industry, we have to understand, first of all, acknowledge that we have a problem. And the problem today is that we are underperforming in retaining women. We actually do a very good job now at attracting women through the door. If you look at the stat, 5 years ago, we would get only 20% of women applying to banking. Today it's 40%. So, although I love to beat ourselves up, we're actually doing a great job there. And if you look at the senior level, at the board level, predominantly because of the external pressure, now the boards are very diverse, for the industry. Where we're lacking and where we're underperforming is bringing women through the rank. And that's where we need to really pay attention. And, people always ask me, what's the solution? And I always say, well, it's no different than when you have an underperforming business. What do you do when you have an underperforming business? First of all, you appoint somebody who owns that business. You make that person accountable for that business. Then, you give them a very clear timeline of what needs to be achieved at any point in time. And then you have, consequences for failure, but also rewards when people do well. And I think that's what we need to do to get it moving.
I think that will bring up a question amongst many people here who are in the corporate world. Why is it that whether it's men or women, when there's a cyclical downturn, banks see their bonuses drop, suddenly you have to share that little bonus that's dropped among the top level, so you suddenly see lots and lots of people getting laid off, and then suddenly the upturn comes along, and then those people are rehired back, when that's almost contrarian to the advice that investment banks give to their customers, saying, retain the talent, make sure your talent stays?
I don't think
The culture has not changed during the downturn.
I don't
What
think
do you
that's.
think about that?
I mean, you know, with all respect, I don't think that's the issue at all. I mean, the fact that we are prone to what the market environment is the natural course of business. If the banks are making money, they will pay. If they don't make money, they don't pay. That's just like any other business. The point is that.
But it's easier to retain your talent, whether especially.
But that's not the reason why we're losing women. And I think the issue is not that. The issue is that we are losing women exactly where they are at the cusp of becoming very senior. And that's the problem, right? So, people talk about gender, disparity in pay. And I always say the big point that people are missing is not that, and I don't want to generalize and say it never happens, it might happen, but that's not the point. The point is that women often than not do not get to the point where they actually can get paid really well. That's the problem, because we lose them. And why does it happen? Because, let's look at, I can tell you what we do. We look at the life cycle of, and we don't have the secret sauce, otherwise you would have read it in some newspaper, but that's what we're trying to do. We look at the life cycle of a woman coming through our door, and we ask ourselves the question, are we paying attention? So first was our face in the campus recruitment. And I said it was very easy to change it. The way we change it is that we actually ask our senior women to go to the campus. Because women in the university, they need to believe it is possible to not send me one woman, send me a number of women, which makes it believable that it is possible to succeed. And the percentage immediately doubled. And so then, you need to make sure that you have the program to mentor them and to sponsor them along the way. Then they get to the 2 point, which I call the defining moment in anybody's career, which is pay and promotion. So make sure you pay attention in these 2 defining moments of what happens to your woman. Then, that's exactly when usually they get into the point where they're senior enough, but they want to build a family, rightly so. And that's the point where you need to make sure not only you have the program, the maternity coming, everybody has that. It hasn't worked. What you need to do is to have those programs, but also have senior leader like yourself and myself in the seat. Make it believable that it is okay to go have a kid and come back, and your job will be there. And unless people look at you and you tell them that and they believe you, they're not going to take up. The problem here today with the maternity program is that our women are not taking it up. It's there. They're not taking it up because they don't believe it's possible to go and come back and your career is there. So we need to make sure we own that and we make them believe it is possible to do that.
Just 30 seconds.
And by the way, we need to encourage men to also take paternity, because the day women see men taking paternity, they will take maternity more.
I think that brings me to a very quick closing point, which I'd love to open it up to the audience, but we are running out of time. 15-second answer. How long do you think this will stay a boys' club for these women to believe that they can come back?
I tell you, I answer your question a different way. I think we are in a defining moment, and it is our time, and it's up to us to seize the moment. Because like I said, before women would not apply, today they're applying. So we kind of get over the bad reputation we had with them. 2, the industry is hungry to attract more women. So it is the time where actually you have 2 sides of the equation who really want to meet. And so it's up to us to make sure that we seize the moment.
But it's a long journey ahead, isn't it, Sanaz?
Well, we gotta be focused on it. The problem is that, and that's the debate about quota, right? People say, there's all debate about quota. What quota does is that it gives you instantaneous results, right? You suddenly will have 50% of your workforce being female. But that doesn't make you retain the woman. You can have 50% there. If you still don't have the programming, if you still as a leader don't care about them, they will leave. So, it's not, unfortunately, people, try to have a one single answer to a multi-dimensional problem.
There's too many answers that we can't even try to cover in the time that we've got, which is up. But I know all of you want to pick up on this conversation with Sanaz. She will be here, as will all our speakers. So, Sanaz, thank you so much. I'm so sorry that we could just go on about this for hours, but we will continue this conversation in the break. We have lots of time to network and talk as well. But thank you so very much as well.